Hello, my name is Kate. Today I'm going to tell you how I went from hating flash photography to loving flash photography. I've been so much more creative with what I'm using and capturing with my flash. And honestly, like it's so dramatic and it's so different from natural light, which is kind of my normal go-to, especially with weddings. Since I've been getting into portraits, it's changed my ways. And the biggest thing was going from a mediocre flash to a professional, high-end quality. It is so simple to use and it changed everything. If you've been here a while, you know that I used to photograph using a Nikon setup. And then a couple years ago, I switched over to the Canon mirrorless and that was a game changer. And with that, I also upgraded some of my other gear and I went from the SB700, I believe it was, from Nikon over to the PROFOTO. I actually didn't jump straight into the PROFOTO as soon as I went over to Canon. I don't know where it is. I have a backup flash here. It is something Canon. Hate the controls on it. And especially when you're photographing at a wedding and you're at a reception and you're photographing different focal points all the time. So you need to be able to change your setting constantly, but also know that your exposure is going to be correct. You're not going to be overexposed and blow out all your highlights or be underexposed. There was so much variation in that and I hated it. I truly hated it. So I would just bump my ISO up all the time and then I'd bring in the flash when I needed to. But I did a lot of research as soon as I started doing a lot more portrait photography. And I did upgrade my studio light, which I'm going to go over in another video, but I then caved and I got the PROFOTO. Night and day difference, because when I was shooting with any of the other flashes, like I said, you didn't have as much control. And also there was so much contrast in every photograph that we used using that flash. Like there would be so much dark low lights and blown out highlights. And I would have to change so much in post that it was fine. I could tweak it to make it satisfactory, but I didn't love it. I reached for the flash as little as possible. As soon as I changed over to this PROFOTO, it changed everything. Like it's so complimentary, it's super easy to use. It is an incredible flash. There's so much about it that's amazing. It is a little bit on the higher price point, especially when you compare it to some of the other flashes out there. So it does run at about 1,500 Canadian, and it's not too bad in the way of weight. It weighs in at 1.2 pounds. So depending on what you're pairing it up with, it certainly can get extremely heavy on the top, but every flash has got some weight to it. The PROFOTO A10 really is a high-end flash that is designed for professional photographers. It is an investment, it certainly is, but you will get what you pay for. It's a very versatile flash that you can use in studio, in outdoors. You can use it on the camera, off the camera. You can pretty much use this for anything that you need. And that's one thing that really swayed me on this. The ease of control is absolutely amazing. So I'm just gonna turn this sucker on right here. You've got your TTL and you have your manual mode on the side. So you can either have the flash do the work for you and do that metering, or you take control. So I like to go between the two, depending on what I'm using this flash for. Then to change your strength of that flash, it's super easy. You literally just spin this dial and you can control it right there, super fast. You can connect it to your phone. You can connect to all kinds of things. You can change the light dome, if you will, how wide the light will spread. And that's super fast. You have a rechargeable battery on the back here that just plugs right in and it will recharge. You will get about 450 photographs on full power, which is pretty impressive. Now, with photographing weddings, I do need to buy a second battery. So that's kind of a downside because I can't just have a whole stack in my camera bag just to switch them out quickly. As long as I have a second battery as an option, then that makes it so I don't have to pick up my backup flash. One super cool thing with this is it will sync with your camera for up to 1/8,000 of a second. So that is insanely fast synchronizing time. Depends on what you're shooting. You might not actually need that, but having that option is absolutely huge. The one thing that I love doing, so I will use this for weddings and I will actually use it for portraits in a studio as well. When I'm shooting for weddings, there are a few things. So it comes with this little attachment. You can have a little bounce card here. So it just pops right in. It comes in a fancy case, but I honestly don't use it very much, which is why I don't really know where it is. But so you've got a little bounce card that you can throw in there and that's nice and sleek, super small. You can throw that in your bag with you. I did actually get these little filters. So you can just pop these in your flash also, and you can just change your lighting just slightly. So those are super cool. I, to be honest, don't reach for them all that often. I just change it either in my camera settings or I change it in post. I don't need it that much. Depends on, you know, if I am in a very warm environment, then I will throw a blue filter on because no one likes to look orange. But generally, I just keep it like this. I really like this. I do always use my MagMod when I'm shooting at weddings. You'll see here, there's like a little elasticated sleeve that goes over the top, and these are actually magnets right here. And then this little sucker, it can just like squish right up in your bag. And so you don't have to worry about breaking it or anything, and it will just magnetize right onto the top. So this is the MagMod. I will put a link below for you. It is such an amazing diffuser, so it doesn't matter which way I have that light, it's dispersing, it's softening it, and it is diffusing that light really, really well for me. One thing I also have from MagMod is this, it's a slightly different diffuser here. It's just like a little grid, and I throw this on for when it's dancing time, partying time. It gives a really sort of, what is the name of it? Vignette. It gives kind of a vignette type look to your photos, which is super cool. It keeps it a little more intimate, especially for the dancing. But to be honest, that is the only time that I use this, or have used it, should I say, is during receptions for partying, dancing and stuff, because it is super cool. It just really highlights the people in the photograph and keeps everything just a little bit more blurred out on the background. So that's kind of cool. When I first purchased a ProFoto light, I actually got the B10 Plus, and that's more for studio portraits. But within about a month, I had to send it in for repair. So that really chafed my, and I had studios booked for a month on end, and I had no light, and I just transferred over to this. So it really just took my level of photography, especially in the portraits, to a higher level, and I was stuck. I ended up buying this off-camera flash attachment. So this bad boy, it's designed for, and it doesn't work right now. I've got the elasticated sleeve for my MagMod on top, and it is, to be honest, it's a real pain in the butt to get it on and off, so I try to leave it on as much as possible. But this off-camera flash adapter, you literally just slide your flash right on here. You have your, hold on, too many things, not enough hands. So you have your flash, and you can literally just mount it straight in there, and it works as an off-camera flash. You pair it up to your ProFoto, the Air remote, and it fires exactly the same way as any of your other studio flashes, and it was a lifesaver. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done, because the rental fees for how long I had to give up my other light for was pretty much the same cost as buying a new flash. So, yep, not happening. Like, this thing is just so versatile. I take it with me everywhere. Even when I do shoot in the studio, I always have this as a backup, because you also never know. I did a studio shoot just a few weeks ago, and where they had the white drop, we had to shut all the curtains. It was black in there. And so because of that, I had to then bring in 2 off-camera flashes, which worked because fortunately I had my B10 and I had the A10, and I had my trigger, and I was able to set it up so they were on different channels, and I could then compensate for the fact that we had no natural light. So it's so powerful. It's so versatile. Like, I take it to every single wedding with me. If I have to, I pick up my backup flash, but it hasn't happened, which is really nice. So honestly, that backup flash, I only had it for maybe 5 months or so before I upgraded to the ProFoto, and I used it for one wedding, and now I have it as for my second shooters as a just in case. It really is an investment, especially for a flash. Before I purchased this, I was not even considering spending that kind of coin on a flash. And when I saw the prices of it, it hurt a little bit, but I said, you know what? Because I had the B10 Plus, and I know it's phenomenal, I gave it a try, and I could not be happier with flash. I have been so much more creative. I have not been as nervous to pick it up. I truly, truly love this flash, and it will change your ways if you give it a try. This light is amazing. I absolutely love it. You will not be disappointed with it. I hope this gave you a little bit of insight as to the quality of flashes, how it can help, how it changes your ways, and how, you know, it's something to consider, truly, especially if you want to level up your photography and you wanted to price it a little bit higher because your quality is just that much more. It all comes into play. So check back next week. I'm going to have a little bit more for you. I don't know what, because life is crazy. Check back next week. I will have something more for you, and hopefully that'll help you level up your business and bring up your photography style.